This is ABC7 News at 7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
Some nursing homes are very Medicaid heavy, and those are the ones that we as a state have to find the resources and the monies to make sure that we get them to that point so they can have the generators and the adequate cooling mechanisms to take care of them.
14 senior citizens dead because an assisted living facility in South Florida didn't have generators during Hurricane Irma. What can be done to prevent tragedies like this from happening to your loved ones? Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohn, and welcome to ABC7 at 7. We'll have more on generators at nursing homes in a bit. But first, our top 7 stories at 7. Every parent's worst nightmare, an alleged rapist is on the loose tonight. Police are investigating the sexual assault of a student Friday night near Riverview High School during the football game. ABC7's Rick Adams joins us live in Sarasota with more. Rick.
Yeah, Alan, neighbors say this is the area where the alleged rape took place. We're being told a Riverview High School student was parked in her vehicle when a man entered her car and then sexually assaulted her. He is described as a white male in his late 30s with a medium build, long dark brown hair, a mustache and a goatee, and he does have a mole on his face.
It's extremely shocking and scary. I'm glad I have my dogs.
Yeah, it happened right in front of my house, you know, and it's crazy because you live here, you never think something like that would happen, especially outside of your home. You know, you never know what can happen outside, especially having little sisters, you know, play outside. You always want what's best, and something like that's scary.
And since the investigation continues, the sheriff's office as well as the school district would not comment. If you know anything at all about this, you're being asked to contact authorities immediately. Reporting live from Sarasota, I'm Rick Adams. Alan, back to you.
Rick, thank you. The Bradenton Police Department is releasing more details about a woman accused of killing her elderly neighbor. 55-year-old Misty Whitley is charged with second-degree murder. She is accused of killing 82-year-old Zelma Huddleston. Police say they found Huddleston inside her 3rd Avenue home west yesterday, covered in blood, and a knife on the ground nearby. The paramedic who first arrived at the house told police that Huddleston had injuries to her head and face. Police say Whitley was overheard saying that she had an altercation with her neighbor. When officers arrived, Whitley had blood on her hands and her pants. We have all heard the saying before that Rome wasn't built in a day, but it was built faster than the Fort Hamer Bridge. After over 100 years of planning, the Fort Hamer Bridge is officially open to traffic. It was first proposed in 1909, but became a reality today. The bridge stretches across Manatee River, connecting Fort Hamer and Upper Manatee River roads on either side. The bridge now provides an alternative to I-75 and 301. Last night, you'll recall, we talked about the president's hopes for tax reform, but it remains unclear whether there are enough Republican votes in the GOP-controlled House and Senate to pass it. Congressman Vern Buchanan sits on the coveted Ways and Means Committee and told us today he believes it can at least get through the House.
The big issue that we're working on that I'm involved with, I'm on the Ways and Means Committee. We're the tax writing committee. We're trying to simplify the tax code, lower rates for individuals and small businesses so that starting January 1, everybody's paycheck will be bigger because they're sending less money to Washington. That's my goal.
But to date, there is no bill, just a framework, and there have been no hearings. A reminder to senior citizens, Medicare's annual open enrollment period is open now and ends December 7th. It is time to review your coverage because some plans and benefits may have changed. Changes in policies take effect on January 1st. Florida ranks second to California for the highest number of Medicare beneficiaries. To make any changes, call 1-800-MEDICARE or go online to www.medicare.gov. The scandal involving producer Harvey Weinstein is resulting in victims of sexual harassment across the country sharing personal stories. As part of a growing social media movement, the Me Too movement is spreading on Facebook and Twitter with the hashtag #MeToo. Some say it's shedding needed light as more women go public with personal accounts of harassment. A crisis center president says one of the hardest things is the silence that surrounds the issue.
People don't want to talk about it. There's a lot of victim blaming, and there's just a difficult culture around sexual violence.
On Facebook, more than 12 million posts, comments, and reactions have been made to the Me Too movement. It took 4 police officers, a K-9, and a taser to bring down an accused intruder in Northport. Officers were called to a home on Barnacusi Avenue for a possible burglary. They allege Matthew Poland ignored commands and kicked and punched and bit officers. The officers tased Poland multiple times while trying to arrest him. When that didn't work, they released their K-9 Dutch, and the dog was able to subdue him. The 4 officers were taken to the hospital, but they are okay, and Dutch is just fine. Poland is now facing charges of battery on law enforcement officers, resisting arrest, and battery on the police dog. And now it's time to head over to Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan with our first alert forecast. Bob.
Alan, thank you. We are looking at a few showers down to our south right now. That frontal boundary has really just turned into, for the most part, a trough of low pressure, but behind it, some slightly drier air, but it was warm today. High temperatures well above average in upper 80s to near 90 degrees, and a few light rain showers were around earlier. Those have since moved on. There's still some rain lingering along the east coast, but not much going on here along the west coast, and it should stay that way right on in through the next several hours. The evening planner looks like this. We'll see generally fair skies by 9 o'clock, and by 11 o'clock we'll have temperature right around 74 degrees under clear skies, and it looks as though we will see clear skies here for tomorrow. A little bit more sunshine in the forecast. Temperatures currently upper 70s to low 80s. The Gulf water temperature is starting to cool down quite nicely to 82 degrees right now, and Lake Placid at 76. Currently at the Sarasota-Bradenton Airport, it looks like this, clear, 78, and the dew point temperature is 69. Winds are out of the east-northeast at 11. The pressure 30.04. That is rising ever so slightly, and the day-to-day was gorgeous. Families of webcam showing generally fair conditions out on the waters. A little east wind, though, breezy, causing small craft advisories to be issued all day long. They'll stay with us, too, overnight and throughout the early morning hours on in through Thursday, and then lessening. That wind will start to lessen up somewhat. The water vapor imagery showing dry air continuing to stream overhead, so no real threat of any significant rainfall over the upcoming days, Alan. We're looking at fairly dry conditions, and we're still watching the arrival of that stronger cold front, which will bring some thunderstorms, and they could be rather strong, it looks like, early next week. We'll talk more about that later.
Yes, because the lawn needs rain.
Oh, they sure do, a lot of them.
All right, thanks a lot, Bob. And still to come, 14 seniors dead at a Florida nursing home. Now the governor is ordering facilities to have generators. Why some are balking when we return.
This is an important medical announcement. Bard IVC filters have been linked to punctured veins and problems with migration. Anyone who's received a Bard IVC filter must receive medical monitoring and may be entitled to substantial compensation. If you have the Bard Recovery G2 or G2 Express filter, you are in a class of patients who should be compensated for some expenses. Call now for a free assessment of your case and potential money damages. This call is confidential. There's no cost and you may be eligible. Juries have awarded millions of dollars to people who should have been warned about the risks of the Bard IVC filters. Call the IVC Filter Hotline if you or a loved one has received an IVC filter and experienced a vein puncture or required medical monitoring. You must call now.
Call 800-329-3089. 800-329-3089.
If anyone depends on you, listen to this important message. 3 out of 4 Americans know they need life insurance, and many who have it know they don't have enough. Sound like you? How would your family get by without you? Would they lose their home or their dreams of a good education? They don't have to. You can guarantee those you love $200,000, $500,000, $750,000 or more with life insurance through AIG Direct. We're part of AIG, one of the world's largest insurance organizations, and we'll help you get more for your money, up to 70% more. Just look.
Less than $14 a month buys a 40-year-old man a $250,000 term life policy.
That's up to 3 times what you can get from other companies for the same price. No wonder millions of people worldwide rely on AIG companies. The call is free, the quote is free, and there's no obligation. Get the protection your family needs through AIG Direct, a leader in insurance.
For a free quote, call 1-800-620-6355. That's 1-800-620-6355.
ABC7, your official Florida lottery station for the Suncoast.
It was horrible and infuriating. 14 nursing home residents in Hollywood overheat and die in the aftermath of Hurricane Irma. Now, state lawmakers are proposing bill after bill to try to ensure it does not happen again. ABC7's Jess Dowdrick is here with more. Jess.
Alan, the state seems to be taking aggressive action. 3 bills are already on the table, up for consideration during the 2018 legislative session. But those bills could easily die in the state Senate or House, like similar bills did a decade ago.
At Fountains of Hope Assisted Living Facility in Sarasota, the community hunkered down and took on Hurricane Irma, like many in the area did.
It really went without a hitch.
But they had plans and were ready.
Any residents, family member, staff member could call in as well as view it online so that they had constant information.
From food to power.
We have a generator, but of course the generator doesn't work everything. You know, it works the necessary things.
Luckily, the community didn't lose electricity, but if they did, they had the generator ready.
It works, you know, an elevator and works some of our kitchen equipment.
It complies with all but one piece of Governor Rick Scott's new emergency mandates.
Do the generators that you guys have now provide air conditioning?
They don't.
Scott's emergency rules give assisted living facilities and nursing homes 60 days to get generators and fuel that would allow the facilities to operate for at least 96 hours after a power outage. Standards based on those already in place at Florida hospitals.
We're here to see what else we can do.
Both Chris Gillespie and Stacy Sweeney in town from Birmingham, Alabama, at Fountains of Hope, talking about how to comply with the mandate. While they're happy to do so,
we found out that there's no way that we can get even a day tank or an additional fuel tank for the fuel that we will need in addition to have AC in the communities.
So they're asking for a waiver. So are other assisted living facilities across the state.
These are tremendously big generators. You can't just pull these type of generators up to a nursing home and plug them in. This is not a 60-day process. It can take anywhere from 6 months to 2 years to install a generator of this size.
Not to mention the approximate $350,000 bill for a 120-bed facility.
We'd like to work with the legislature on ways that we can cover the costs of these generators. Medicaid already underfunds the cost of our care. This is something that we want to do. We all want our residents to be safe.
And Governor Scott's mandate isn't alone in its efforts. Now state senators and House members are proposing bill after bill. Senator Rene Garcia has filed a bill similar to Scott's mandates. It would require senior facilities to have emergency power supplies and fuel to last 4 days after a storm.
Some nursing homes are very Medicaid heavy. And those are the ones that we as a state have to find the resources and the monies to make sure that we get them to that point so they can have the generators and the adequate cooling mechanisms to take care of them.
Then in the House, Representative Sean Harrison proposing a bill that would make nursing homes and hospitals a priority for power restoration.
If you have to have air conditioning or you have to have power to live versus somebody that just needs that for convenience or comfort, then you should be prioritized.
Right now, hospitals are priorities, nursing homes are not.
Back in 2005, after Hurricane Wilma hit, Florida lawmakers proposed a bill that would require some nursing homes to have generators. Sounds a lot like what's on the table now, right? Well, that bill died in the state Senate because of the industry opposition and money. But now that 14 people are dead, could the result be different this time? Stay tuned for the 2018 legislative session.
While there was that tragedy in Hollywood Hills, it's important to remember that there were hundreds of assisted living facilities and nursing homes that successfully managed the challenges of Hurricane Irma. Thousands of residents were successfully cared for.
Jess, thank you. As we just saw, many assisted living facilities are not happy with the governor's order. We'll talk to two of them next at the Trapezoid.
40 million. That's the number of free phones still available and the number of how many Americans can still get prescriptions free.
Free could be wonderful.
That's why I'm still working at 77 years old to pay off my prescriptions.
I needed to have a prescription filled and I had to leave because I couldn't afford it.
Call now and see what's available for you. Free prescriptions. Over 10 million people get prescriptions free, and the program has expanded so another 40 million can. Free dental. Over 15,000 dentists have provided over $330 million in free dental work. Free cell phones. 40 million free cell phones are still available with free minutes and more.
Free cell phone would change my life right now because it is something I cannot afford to get.
Medical supplies like back braces, knee braces, and diabetic supplies may be covered too. The free RX Plus hotline has saved callers over $12 million on their prescription costs. These free programs are now available to 40 million more people. Call now.
Listen to this important message. If you owe money to the IRS, you will want to hear this. Penalties and interest compound daily on your back taxes, putting you under a mountain of debt. Tax 10,000 has years of experience connecting people with tax resolution specialists. Working through the IRS Fresh Start program, they will handle all the necessary forms, and if you qualify, you may end up saving thousands of dollars. Call Tax 10,000 at 800-817-1064.
Attention Medicare beneficiaries. Medicare's annual election period has begun. If you already have Medicare, new benefits may now be available with no copays, no deductibles, or $0 premiums. Call now to speak to a licensed insurance agent who can help guide you step by step through a free analysis of the benefits available to you. And you may be eligible for plans that even include additional coverage for dental, vision, and prescription drugs. MedicareAdvantage.com searches thousands of insurance plans from leading insurance companies. We'll help you find plans that may cost you less, cover more benefits, and give you more choices, like home delivery of your prescriptions, gym memberships, and even over-the-counter allowances for everyday needs, like antacid, allergy medicine, vitamins, and even toothpaste. Don't miss the deadline to enroll. It's time to get more out of Medicare.
Call 800-579-3380. That's 800-579-3380. 800-579-3380. Call now.
Welcome back. In the aftermath of 14 seniors dying in the sweltering heat at a Hollywood assisted living facility, Governor Rick Scott was decisive. He issued an emergency order. All Florida nursing homes must have generators and enough fuel to keep running for 96 hours after the power goes out. But as we just saw, many nursing home operators are not happy. 54 providers are requesting variances for complying by the governor's 60-day deadline. In the aftermath of Irma, some legislators are filing bills aimed at addressing the fatal mistakes that resulted in the deaths of the elderly residents in Hollywood. Previous efforts to address these concerns have been derailed by the industry. Joining us for more is Darwin Rusty Blix, owner of the Alderman Oaks Retirement Center in Sarasota, and Cindy Goff of the Fountains of Hope Assisted Living Facility, also in Sarasota. Both of you, welcome. Rusty, let me begin with you because you have written a number of columns in the Herald Tribune about this subject. One recently, you responded to the governor by saying, "Impossible, you have swamped us with your regulations." You obviously want your residents to be safe, but what is the issue you have with the governor's order here?
The issue is primarily timing. I know that there's 4 or 5 different engineers that I'd need to have to do this properly: architect, mechanical, electrical, air conditioning, well, that's the mechanical, civil engineers. All of these things have to happen before we can even do these. And then the rules that we're supposed to meet have been changing regularly along the way. And for instance, we were told that you could not use natural gas, which we have to our property. And so had we submitted our plan as quickly as the governor really wants this, we would have submitted it having to have a big tank.
So,
well, then we're told, hey, no, it's okay now to have, natural gas.
All right, so Cindy, even if operators wanted to comply with this emergency order, it may well take more than 60 days to accomplish it.
Absolutely. From the research that our corporate office has done, number one, there probably aren't enough generators to be able to be placed in such a time, in this time frame. You're not going to have the staff to, the maintenance, the electricians to put those into play. And financially, the cost for some communities, it's astronomical. It is a huge challenge for all of us with those things.
On the other hand, this terrible tragedy underscored what could go wrong. And there's a criminal investigation that is investigating it, but still there are a lot of folks who are watching this tonight, especially in this community, who are either in assisted living or have loved ones that are, and are saying that steps have to be taken to make sure that this does not happen again.
Absolutely. It has to happen. We can't answer why it happened. We only know that we need to do something to make sure it doesn't happen again. And that's why we're here to voice our concerns about what did happen and what can we do as far as, I know the government's involved, but what can we do to help? That's the big thing. Okay, we are just getting warmed up. We'll have much more on the governor's emergency order regarding nursing homes right after we check the first alert weather, so stay with us.
This is an important medical announcement. Xarelto and Pradaxa have been linked to uncontrollable bleeding and even death. If you've been prescribed one of these drugs and have experienced these dangerous side effects, you may be entitled to substantial compensation. Studies show that Pradaxa can cause more heart attacks than warfarin, and other countries have already issued safety warnings against this drug. Call now for a free assessment of your case and potential money damages. The call is confidential, there's no cost, and you may be eligible. Juries have awarded millions of dollars to Pradaxa victims, and thousands of Xarelto victims are filing their legal cases. Call the Drug Watch hotline. If you or a loved one used Xarelto or Pradaxa and experienced uncontrollable bleeding, brain hemorrhage, or even death, you must call now.
Call 800-793-6055. 800-793-6055.
You studied hard, went to college, and achieved your dream, but it turned into a financial nightmare. If you have federal student loans and you'd like to reduce your payments, get more time, or have your loans completely eliminated, then we have good news. With one call to Student Loan Relief Services, you can find support and guidance. We've already helped thousands of people, and we can help you too. If you have $10,000 or more in federal student loans, you can qualify for payment extensions, payment reductions, or you may qualify to have your federal student loan completely forgiven. Call Student Loan Relief Services now to find out about your options. Take control of your finances and get out from under this burden. One of our student loan experts has the answers to your questions and great solutions to ease your financial burden. We're here for you. Call Student Loan Relief Services now.
Call 800-759-0203. 800-759-0203.
I heard about the Detoli Cancer Center through friends of mine who had been treated here and were very pleased with the treatment.
If there is prostate cancer, we at the Detoli Cancer Center will find it using 3D color flow Doppler ultrasound.
And that helped precisely identify where my cancer was and some additional cancers that were not found during the biopsy. I would recommend the Detoli Cancer Center. As a group of human beings, they are unbelievably great.
Our conversation on generators at nursing homes continues right after we get a check on the first alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan.
Thanks, Alan. And the active 2017 hurricane season is not that active right now. Let's hope it stays that way, and let's hope it's all over, really. Ophelia, a major hurricane, and this could go down as a record-breaking year. So far, it isn't the most active season, but it's getting up there. It's top 10 at least, and you can see we still have Felipe is the next one up in store, and we'll see if that one does pop up. It's been a very active season thus far. 15 named storms, 10 hurricanes, and 6 major storms. Typically, we have about 11 named storms, 6 of those becoming hurricanes, and only 2 major storms. So you can see we are well above average. Indications are that we may see something developing in the Western Caribbean as a result of a front coming down, and that's what happens typically in the latter half of the season. But beautiful out there today. The bay looks calm, but actually offshore we had small craft advisories as a result of that strong easterly wind. And if you weren't in the wind-protected areas, those seas were up there a little bit, up to 2 to 4 foot seas. And sun is set, a few clouds around. The rain is all over. We had a few brief showers, and most areas were dry tonight. And I just got back from outside. I checked out the International Space Station flying overhead, and it was pretty clear for that. And right now, some showers along the East Coast and down south near Cuba and throughout the Florida Straits. Offshore, these are the showers that were around earlier, and you can tell there weren't many. They moved on through quickly, too, out of the east to the west at around 15 to 20 miles an hour. That small craft advisory remains in effect for coastal waters, too. And we'll do so, I think, tomorrow morning up until about 10 a.m., and then it should be allowed to expire. Evening planner looks good. If you have a walk, looks good this evening. 75 degrees by 11 o'clock. Should not be bad at all. Just a few clouds around. With this east wind, I was outside too. It's a nice and dry out there, so it feels really comfortable. 78 degrees right now. Dew point is at 69. Winds are out of the east-northeast at 11, and the pressure 30.04 inches. And that is rising ever so slightly, but the temperature has been rising too. 88 degrees. That's well above the average, which is typically at 85. We're going to stay warm too this week. Temperatures will be in the upper 80s to near 90 degrees each and every day. But the good news is that we're not seeing that summer-like humidity develop as a result of the stronger easterly wind flow. Water temperatures during the summer typically are into the upper 80s to near 90 degrees. And with the sea breeze developing during the summer, we get that high humidity, temperatures near 90. Nothing like that tomorrow, though. Highs will still be into the upper 80s, but with an east wind, it will be a little bit more tolerable, if you will. No rainfall report for the year, over 61 inches. And the forecast tomorrow, not calling for any rainfall. We'll call for just a few clouds in the afternoon and evening. High temperatures into the mid to upper 80s and near the beaches, low 90s inland. And the extended forecast is going to call for more of the same. Now, the future cast, this is overdone. This gives you a little example of how these models are initialized. This one's initializing showers right now at 7 o'clock. And we know we didn't have any rainfall, so this is a little overdone. We're not anticipating any rainfall through this evening, or for that matter, tomorrow. It will stay dry for drop-off for the kids. And then throughout the day, it looks good. Sunny skies and just a few clouds in the afternoon. No real threat of any rainfall. Friday, although it looks rather ominous, it's not. We'll see a few patchy showers at best in the late afternoon and evening. Should not be a factor for football Friday night. And that could be 3 weeks in a row that football Friday night will not be hindered by any significant storms. Tropical tracker, nothing going on in the Caribbean right now. All is quiet there. There's an old frontal boundary that is weakening now just over the Straits of Florida. And I mentioned the Western Caribbean. Well, this is the hotbed of activity during the latter half of the hurricane season because water temperatures are very warm still there into the mid-80s throughout the Western Caribbean. And we'll see a front come down in there, looks like next week. Northeast winds for boaters tomorrow. Small craft advisory in effect. They're a little lessened somewhat throughout the afternoon. Water temperature now at 82 degrees. And the tides up coming on your screen for the next high tide will be at 12:19 and low tide at 7:37. Tonight, partly cloudy, a few showers, breezy. Temperatures low 70s. That's above average. Tomorrow, warm 88 degrees under sunny skies, just a few clouds. And the extended forecast calling a much better chance for rain as the front moves in on Monday and Tuesday of next week. Alan will be back with his guests right after this. Stick around.
Attention, Americans eligible for Medicare. Are you getting all the benefits you're entitled to? Did you know there may be money available to lower your medical prescription costs? Call Health Markets and we'll tell you if you qualify.
Hi, I'm Dr. Martin Jeetzy. It's a new Medicare year. That means more changes and more confusion. The key question is, what can you do now to ensure you get the care you need in the coming year?
Call Health Markets today. You may qualify to save money on prescriptions. We'll help you find plans that may cost less, cover more, and could even lower your prescription costs to increase your savings. We help you find all the benefits you're entitled to, and we do it at no cost.
Make sure you have what you need to get the care that's right for you.
Find out if you qualify to receive extra help with your prescriptions. Call the number on the screen now. Representatives are standing by.
Christmas Traditions by Lux Art Silks, where more is merrier. Make your holidays sparkle with style. Browse our amazing showroom, cute collectible cottages, and beautiful Christmas displays. Find the inspiration, selection, and quality you need to deck the halls merry and bright. Christmas Traditions also features the area's largest selection of quality pre-lit Christmas trees, every size, shape, and color, and plenty of decorations to make your home shine for the holidays. Christmas Traditions by Lux Art Silks, where more is merrier. Visit us on New 301, just a quarter-mile north of University Parkway.
Attention Medicare beneficiaries. Many people with Medicare may be able to get extra benefits and don't even know they're available. You may be able to get dental, vision, hearing, and prescription drug coverage included in your plan. Call the Medicare Coverage Helpline to see if you can get the extra benefits you deserve. The Medicare Coverage Helpline is now accepting calls. You may be able to get extra benefits, including dental, vision, and prescription drug coverage.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jason Buchwald. Making sure you go to the doctor and taking all your medications as prescribed can help protect your health. To make it easier, you may now be able to enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan that includes coverage for dental, vision, and prescription drugs. Help protect your health by choosing the right plan for you and get all the benefits you deserve.
Call to see if you may be able to get extra benefits, including dental, vision, and prescription coverage. Don't miss the annual election period deadline for Medicare Advantage. Call now. Call 800-711-7200. That's 800-711-7200.
Welcome back. We're talking about the 14 seniors who died in the sweltering heat of a Florida assisted living facility after Hurricane Irma. How do we prevent that from happening again? And joining us for more is Darwin Rusty Blix, the owner of the Alderman Oaks Retirement Center in Sarasota, and Cindy Goff, of the Fountains of Hope Assisted Living Facility, also in Sarasota. Now, here's the interesting thing. You both help operate facilities, but they're, Cindy, your facility is part of a very big corporation, and Rusty, you are the sole proprietor of one facility. I would imagine, people would look at your company and say, look, certainly you have the resources to make this happen, whereas Rusty, who's in it, by himself, may not. So why would this be onerous for a large corporation that makes a lot of money to put these generators in to prevent this from happening?
Well, even with a large company, you're talking about, a large group of assisted living communities under one umbrella. So we have 4 right here in Florida. So that's a huge expense, and they're all new buildings within the last, 2 years. Our building just opened 2 years ago in February. One other one down north and south opened 6 months before us. We just opened one in Fort Myers. So we're looking at 4 other communities that are going to have all this additional financial as well.
Some people may be surprised that, given this is Florida and these are newer facilities, that there was no state requirement for generators in the first place.
We had the generator that we were at the very, when they did all the investigation and the planning and prep, we did have the generator that would provide the necessary, which is the kitchen. All the hallways would be lighted, elevators would be working. So we did that, and now we're hearing now that we have to have a designated area for air conditioning due to the heat.
So have you asked for a variance like the 54 other
I'm not sure if they have or not. I know that the corporate office has been working with all of this, the documentation and investigating what needs to be done. Like you saw on this news clip, that 2 of our corporate people were in our community meeting with generator companies and trying to figure out what we were going to do.
Rusty, I'm going to read part of your editorial that you wrote into the newspaper. At Alderman Oaks, it was out of power for about 3.5 days. We had evacuated because of the flooding.
We were forced to evacuate, and that's another issue. We're on the mainland side of the bridges, and for us to have to evacuate was, it's a different situation than if you have 2 feet of water is going to flood the bridge and you can't get off the island.
Right,
so.
And your residents went to a shelter, but the shelter lost power also because lift stations were without power, and so you eventually moved your residents back to your facility, even though the facility did not have power. And again, please explain to the folks who are watching this right now, moving the residents back there kind of underscores the need to have the generators.
I don't think anybody's opposed to having a generator to meet these basic needs. And we're fortunate to be able to buy one. I bought one for $40,000 during the storm. 5 minutes later, Florida Power and Light, which wouldn't communicate with me, turned their power on. You know, but what we believe is that there's smarter ways to do it than to just have to meet a 2-month deadline.
Right.
A small generator that does the basic that they require, and then I'll bring my big portable generator in and hook up and run the whole building.
Run the building with air conditioning?
With air conditioning, yeah, with everything.
All right, so I want to talk about two things. Number one, what you believe are the smarter ways to go about this, and also, you have a little bone to pick with the power company.
I do.
All right, so why don't we
start? And it goes beyond the power company.
All right, well, you're not a big fan of Governor Scott right now.
Not now.
Why?
Well, Florida Power and Light failed us in, you know, at least 3 ways that I think I have in another editorial that I hope sees the light.
Basically, that
they didn't do preparation. They didn't put us, you know, they didn't do underground. Secondly, they didn't have a priority for assisted living until people died in the other coast, and they died with a hospital across the street. Correct. It wasn't because they didn't have a generator. In fact, the building had a generator. So this solution is throwing money and a long list of new regulations at a problem that was primarily caused because of improper operating of the building.
What's the better way to go about this?
A better way to do it. Now, we had a large generator on order, and we called substantially before the storm to come in and hook up. I get a call. Every generator in the area is in Houston. Okay, so that's obviously not a good way to do it. But to have a supply of generators in a safe place, maybe in the middle of the state that FALA and our organizations would have, to have everybody have a minimum one to keep people safe temperature-wise until that generator could be brought. 3,000 assisted living facilities in Florida, the worst storm that we've seen, 400 were out of power. Why should everyone have to have this expensive system?
There's another issue I want to get to, but your other problem with FPL is that you do not believe that your facility or facilities in general were prioritized for restoration.
They weren't. Once the pressure came because of deaths in a nursing home, different than assisted living, then very quickly we got power, and it ended up taking 2 men a half hour each to get us online.
Cindy, there's one other area I want to get to because a lot of the legislators are filing bills to basically try to make sure that this does not happen again. And you know, I've read a lot of stories that said that over the years there have been a number of efforts to do these kinds of things, but the industry has pressured the legislature not to do that. So I want to give you an opportunity to speak for the entire industry and respond to that.
Well, you know, I don't have the answers for that. I know that we try to be as prepared as we can. I know that we want to do the right thing, and we've reached out on numerous occasions about issues that we've had, just like we're talking about the electric company. We too reached out to them, want to know if we were on the priority. They said we were, just in case something were to happen. But, you know, we're doing all we can at this point to put our voice forward about what we need to do in this situation.
You know, we're about to start in a couple of months a new legislative session, and, you know, Florida residents in general, you know, we went through a lot with Irma. It could have been worse, but there is going to be pressure to get the legislature to do something to make sure that this kind of tragedy does not happen again.
Right, and I think they need, I mean, FALA, you know, get some of us who are active in our communities, talk to us. What suggestions do we have as far as the regulations go? Because unless you're in our communities and you know what we're doing on a day-to-day basis, what we have in our communities.
Okay, we have to take a quick break, and we'll be back for final thoughts in a moment.
This is an important medical announcement. Bard IVC filters have been linked to punctured veins and problems with migration. Anyone who's received a barred IVC filter must receive medical monitoring and may be entitled to substantial compensation. If you have the barred recovery G2 or G2 Express filter, you are in a class of patients who should be compensated for some expenses. Call now for a free assessment of your case and potential money damages. This call is confidential, there's no cost, and you may be eligible. Juries have awarded millions of dollars to people who should have been warned about the risks of the barred IVC filters. Call the IVC Filter Hotline if you or a loved one has received an IVC filter and experienced a vein puncture or required medical monitoring. You must call now.
Call 800-329-3089. 800-329-3089.
If you have Medicare, I have 3 things you'll want to hear. There's an all-in-one Medicare Advantage plan from Humana. It includes Medicare Part D prescription drug coverage, and it may save you money in so many ways. It's all in this book, and it's yours free just for calling. You'll see all the ways the plan might save you money, even on prescription drugs. In fact, last year, Humana Medicare Advantage prescription drug plan members saved an estimated $6,500 on average on their prescription costs. And you get all this coverage with an affordable monthly plan premium, and in some areas, no plan premium. Even if you've looked at Humana before, you need to take another look at this plan. We'll send you the decision guide absolutely free, in a slightly smaller size, of course. Discover the all-in-one Medicare Advantage plan that could cut your costs and cover your prescriptions. Call 1-800-824-8241 or go to humanabigbook.com. The savings are too big to miss.
Enjoy some of the best Suncoast restaurants on me. Just go to mysuncoast.com/dining, sign up for the newsletter if you haven't already, and you can win a $50 gift card to a restaurant in our area. We'll pick a winner each week, so go on our website and sign up now.
And our guest joining us right now for final thoughts. Cindy, people watching this want to make sure that their parents and grandparents are safe in times of crisis like we just went through here. And so with the governor's order and what the legislature is going to be trying to do, what would you say to them in terms of requiring nursing homes to take the kind of precautions like having generators that could run air conditioning, so this type of tragedy doesn't happen again?
Well, I think the most important thing for the families and the residents to know is we want what's best for them. We want them to be safe, we want them to be taken care of, and we want to do the right thing. And if it's going to take special legislation, how to be prepared, we want to follow those guidelines, but we also would like to be a part of those to help, to organize and to come up with some of the plans as well, to know what needs to be done.
Rusty, I get that you are pretty angry right now at Governor Scott, that you're looking at the emergency order as not as solving a problem so much as covering up for poor planning?
Well, at Alderman Oaks, the buck stops with me. In the state of Florida, where does the buck stop? Florida Power and Light was not prepared to meet the needs of nursing homes and assisted living facilities. Is it Florida Power and Light's problem? Yes, but where does the buck stop? Why was Florida Power and Light not prepared? And who draws the line there and gives them the directions to run on?
And you're saying it's the governor?
I don't know where else it stops.
Okay. We have to leave it there, but before we go, we want to share some thoughts about last night's show on tax reform. The president has a framework for tax reform. He is in desperate need for some kind of legislative accomplishment. Tax reform has not been done for 30 years. Here is what some of you have to say. Christy says, yes, he will do it. President Trump will make America great again. Billy says, trickle-down economics do not work. Giving multinational corporations more money will not mean more jobs. By the way, these corporations aren't doing bad. A middle-class tax cut would boast job growth and jobs created. And Lauren says, yes, there are areas that tax dollars are desperately needed, military spending, infrastructure, etc., but the vast majority of our tax dollars are wasted frivolously. I say put the money back in the hands of Americans. Well, if you'd like to join the conversation about tonight's topic, just visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/mysuncoast.com.abc7. And FYI, you can watch past discussions. They're on demand. They're available on Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku. And want to stay up to date on the latest local news? We are proud to announce our new ABC7 My Suncoast News App. If you have an iPhone or an iPad, currently you need to download our new app by going to the App Store. Download WWSB ABC7 Tampa, My Suncoast. It is free and it provides the most comprehensive news coverage for Sarasota, Manatee, Charlotte, Hardee, and DeSoto counties. Android users, no worries, you'll get the new version automatically. We want to thank our guests for being here tonight. Darwin Rusty Blix is the owner of the Alderman Oaks Retirement Center in Sarasota, and Cindy Goff is with the Fountains of Hope Assisted Living Facility in Sarasota. When we return, we'll have a final look at your first alert weather, plus the president called the family of one of the soldiers who was killed in Niger. We'll tell you what he said after the break.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-683-9262.
Funerals can be emotionally devastating for a family to go through. Besides the sorrow, loved ones are left with the decisions and the high costs of arranging a funeral. That's why Funeral Advantage was formed. They've helped thousands of people between the ages of 40 and 85 protect their families when they need it most. It pays your loved ones up to $20,000 cash immediately.
It's a good feeling to know that my family will be taken care of if anything happens to me.
It's so easy. Just answer a few simple health questions.
Funeral expenses continue to rise and can easily cost $9,000 or more, but the most government benefits pay is only $255, leaving your loved ones the financial burden to pay the rest.
This is so affordable, even for someone like me who's on a fixed income.
If you're between 40 and 85, get your free Funeral Advantage guide. Help keep your family financially protected with up to $20,000 cash immediately. Call the toll-free number on your screen to get your free information guide. Funeral Advantage is something we'll all need. There's no risk or obligation. Don't put it off. Call now.
Call 1-800-897-0900 now to get your free planning guide. Get the facts about how easy it is to protect your family. Call 1-800-897-0900. Don't wait. Call now.
Well, the Anna Maria webcam does show a beautiful day in the bay here. Anyway, Bimini Bay, you see the seas aren't all that high this afternoon. But offshore, because of this strong east wind, we've had small craft advisories that have been flying all day long for the coastal waters. And we'll continue to see that overnight and tomorrow morning. A gorgeous sunset tonight, though, with hardly any clouds around. And you can see that dry air in place all across the southeast, stretching out into the Gulf of Mexico, all the way over into Mexico and Texas now. And that will limit any kind of significant rainfall over the upcoming days. It's going to stay really quite nice, although temperatures will be warm. The humidity will be rather low with that east wind around an area of high pressure off the Carolina coast. Now, the showers that you see here down to Cuba associated with an old frontal boundary. Really, it's a trough of low pressure now. That's a pretty heavy rainfall along the east coast earlier today. A few brief showers have made their way through parts of the Suncoast earlier this afternoon. Not much at all. That has since moved out into the Gulf, and we're looking at generally fair skies right now. Live sweep of the radar still showing some activity along the east coast. Not much right here. All is fairly quiet. Here's that rainfall I mentioned, pretty significant too. 3.6 inches of rainfall. Excuse me, just north of Fort Myers. Now, currently, we have clear skies, 78. The dew point is at 69. Winds are out of the east-northeast at 11 miles an hour. And the pressure, 30.04 inches. That's high. Continues to rise ever so slightly. The low this morning was 70, but that really doesn't tell the story. We had that east wind and low humidity made it feel quite comfortable out there. And 88 degrees the high today. That was a few degrees above the average, which is typically 85. And 93, the record set in 1989. So far for the month, it's been rather dry. 31/100ths of an inch of rainfall at the Sarasota-Bradenton Airport. So far for the year, we're over 13 inches above average. And the forecast for overnight, Looking at generally clear skies, temperatures still staying above average in the low 70s, but with that east breeze, anywhere from 10 to 15 will make it feel that much nicer to start things off tomorrow. The futurecast showing no rain here, some showers possible down south. Tomorrow looks good in the morning, partly cloudy to mostly sunny. Similar conditions in the afternoon. And it looks like the rain chance not all that high on Friday either, just a slight chance for a few late day shower sprinkles, if you will, making their way off toward the west. Well, that wind will stay brisk out of the east and northeast throughout the day, and that always keeps things a little bit milder in terms of temperatures. So we'll see. Highs tomorrow will still be warm in the upper 80s, but the dew point temperature and the humidity will stay rather nice, and so it'll make it feel a little bit much more bearable, let's put it that way. Small craft advisory in effect tonight, tomorrow morning, and then subsiding somewhat in the afternoon. A moderate chop in the bays and inland waters. The water temperature now 82 degrees, and the forecast tides upcoming. The next low tide will be at 7:37 tomorrow morning, and sunrise at 7:33. Forecast tonight, isolated shower possible, but mainly most of the rain's over now. 71, breezy conditions, and then for tomorrow, warm and breezy, partly cloudy, 88, northeast winds 10 to 15. The extended forecast calling for limited shower activity through Saturday, and then late Sunday, we start to see an increase in some chances of rain as a result of a frontal system approaching. Al will be back right after this. Stick around.
Describe a battery or bulb, and Batteries Plus bulbs will have it. Tell us what's broken on your smartphone, and we'll fix it.
I need a new battery for my phone.
And a new screen.
What did you do?
Visit batteriesplus.com for a store near you.
Outdoor living is one of the greatest perks about living in Florida. So whether this is your style, or this, or maybe this, contact Superior Pools. They've been building pools from Sarasota to Naples since 2001, and they would love to build yours.
Are you getting the most out of your Medicare plan? Are you sure? Many people with Medicare are eligible for plans that include extra benefits in addition to those found in original Medicare. Benefits like dental, vision, and prescription drug coverage. Call now to see if you're eligible to enroll. The consultation is free with no obligation to enroll. In addition to hospital and medical coverage, at no extra cost, you could also get coverage for prescription drugs, dental, hearing, vision, and more. In many areas, plans with benefits are available with $0 copays for many services, $0 monthly premiums, or $0 deductibles. That's hospital, medical, prescription drug, dental coverage, and more included in one plan with premiums that may be as low as $0 a month. Call now to see if you're eligible to enroll. The consultation is free and there's no obligation to enroll.
Call 1-800-620-2254. That's 1-800-620-2254.
Attention, Americans eligible for Medicare. Are you getting all the benefits you're entitled to? Did you know there may be money available to lower your medical prescription costs? Call Health Markets and we'll tell you if you qualify.
Hi, I'm Dr. Martin Jeetzy. It's a new Medicare year. That means more changes and more confusion. The key question is, what can you do now to ensure you get the care you need in the coming year?
Call Health Markets today. You may qualify to save money on prescriptions. We'll help you find plans that may cost less, cover more, and could even lower your prescription costs to increase your savings. We help you find all the benefits you're entitled to, and we do it at no cost.
Make sure you have what you need to get the care that's right for you.
Find out if you qualify to receive extra help with your prescriptions. Call the number on the screen now. Representatives are standing by.
Checking primetime headlines, President Trump is facing backlash over the claims of a Florida congresswoman who says she heard him tell the grieving wife of a fallen soldier he knew what he signed up for. ABC's Janae Norman has more from Washington.
It's a case of he said, she said. President Trump firing back at a Florida congresswoman, tweeting she totally fabricated the story that's led to fallout over his phone call with the widow of a fallen Special Forces soldier. When asked about the call today, President Trump said this.
I did not say what she said. I had a very nice conversation with the woman, with the wife, who sounded like a lovely woman, did not say what the congresswoman said, and most people aren't too surprised to hear that.
But Congresswoman Frederica Wilson is standing by her account. She claims she heard the conversation on speakerphone in which President Trump told the grieving widow of Sergeant LaDavid Johnson, quote, he knew what he signed up for, but when it happens, it hurts anyway.
You heard that?
Yeah, he said that. Everyone knows when you go to war, you could possibly not come back alive, but you don't remind a grieving widow of that. It's so insensitive. So insensitive.
Wilson was with Maisha Johnson as she got the call on the way to the airport to receive her husband's remains. The mother of two, 6 months pregnant with their third, captured clinging to her husband's casket. Sergeant Johnson, along with 3 other Green Berets, were killed during an ISIS raid in Niger.
It just hurt me to know that he's not going to be here with us.
And Sergeant Johnson's mother is corroborating Congresswoman Wilson's story. She told the Washington Post, quote, President Trump did disrespect my son and my daughter, and also me and my husband. Janae Norman, ABC News, Washington.
Attorney General Jeff Sessions facing tough questions from his former colleagues on Capitol Hill today. Members of the Judiciary Committee asked about the Russia investigation, executive privilege, and the firing of former FBI Director James Comey. Sessions insisted he has not been interviewed by Special Counsel Robert Mueller's team in the past few weeks. Senator Patrick Leahy raised questions about Sessions' involvement with Russia.
My concern is you were part of the Russian facade and went along with it. And I'm sorry. I've known you for years, and I'm sorry you would do that.
I did serve a long time under your chairmanship. So it did hurt me to say you think I'm part of a facade. I'm not part of a facade.
Sessions did not answer questions regarding his conversations with the president over the firing of the FBI director. Gunfire at a business park in Maryland, and 3 people are dead. 2 others were injured. All 5 worked at the Advanced Granite Solutions office.
Around 8:58 this morning, a report of a shooting at Advanced Granite Solutions in the 2100 block of Emerton Park Road, as you all know, just down the hill behind us. Deputies were on the scene within 4 minutes, arriving at 9:02 a.m., where they discovered 5 people suffering from gunshot wounds. Currently, we have lost 3 of those people. 3 have passed away.
An active search is underway for the suspect, who has been identified as 37-year-old Radi Labib Prince. Authorities said the prince left the scene in the GMC Acadia with Delaware tags. The University of Florida is preparing for potential protest tomorrow in response to a speech by white nationalist leader Richard Spencer. The speech will be tomorrow afternoon. Florida Governor Rick Scott has declared a state of emergency, activating the National Guard. Protesters are expected, but church leaders are urging people to stay home.
If you physically show up, what you don't realize you're doing is you are becoming the puppet. You are a side character, and the playwright is Richard Spencer.
We'll have live coverage in Gainesville tomorrow and get Suncoast Reaction on ABC7 at 7. And that's all the time we have for this evening. I'm Alan Cohn. Thanks for joining us, and have a great night.